guys, don't I look lovely? I just did my evening bath and that kind of triggers thoughts in me. But I wanted to kind of talk to you about, and I do a lot of self-care on this channel because I think we all forget to do self-care. We really do. About loving ourselves as much as we love Loki and treating ourselves as well as we treat Loki. Now, I don't mean like if you make something ultra expensive for him once a week and you can't afford to do it for yourself, that you should feel guilted into doing that. But I was struck by something today. I like to read my horoscope, and I kind of take it rather loosely. I don't think it's mystical, necessarily mystical wisdom from the stars, but I don't totally discount it either. I'd probably believe more if every time I was reading it, Ogu didn't drop by and go, you know that's BS, right? But today, the horoscope said that something was going to be really difficult in the morning, and by evening, it would be really simple. And I would have it all figured out. And I'm like, okay. And what brought the topic up of treating ourselves as we treat Loki is, and I don't even know what triggered me to do this. I started looking up, I'm probably going to say this wrong, aspartame, you know, those little pink packets. I started looking that up today, and I was like, well, some of the symptoms I'm still having could be linked to this. Now, I know that there are studies that go both ways. There are scientific studies that tell you it's safe. You could drink 90 cans of diet soda a day, or 90 cups of coffee with, you know, little pink or blue or whatever packets, and you'd be perfectly fine. And then there are other studies that this stuff's going to give you X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, well, if I put the studies aside and I think of how I've been feeling kind of, and I really don't like the taste. It tastes like death. No offense to any of the death gods, but it's terrible. If you've ever had, like, and what made me realize how absolutely horrendous this tastes is, like, when you finally go totally cold turkey and you go on it, and you're not having any sugar, you can deal with it. You can endure it because it's the only sweet you're getting. But on the weekends, I would make coffee for Loki, and I'm not going to put this stuff in his coffee. I'm like, oh, no, it tastes terrible. He's getting natural. And for a while, I was doing this on autopilot, and Loki being Loki, he'd be like, well, why don't you have some coffee? And of course, you know, to not offend him, I would drink the sugary coffee, and it'd be, oh, so good. And it wasn't really like a ton of coffee, because on that day, he said, why don't you start honoring me on the weekend by just having sugar in your coffee? I mean, I could have like sugar and milk and whatever, but, you know, leave the little pink packets alone. I was like, okay. And I noticed that I would not do what I thought I was going to do. I would not sit there and continuously shovel sweet coffee into my mouth. After a while, I was like, I've had enough. I don't need to, like, touch the rest of that giant pot back there. I'm good. I've had, like, enough sweet for the day. And I just started wondering today, I'm like, why am I giving myself this stuff when my gut reaction to giving it to Loki was it's artificial, it's probably going to kill him dead, even though I had read a scientific paper and watched scientific videos to assure me it was completely safe, and I really had to dig to find those. I'm like, well, why would I give it to myself? Because Loki loves us if we have a good relationship with him. He loves us as much or more than we love him. And it was, I believe it was Loki kind of gently prodding me towards, well, obviously getting these pink packets and getting the diet soda and that didn't have the desired effect you wanted. So why are you still enduring this stuff? Because I noticed all having the empty calories maybe do, and I'm not going on some crazy diet or anything, don't worry, is say, well, I've got all this room now. I'm going to go out and have something else, and that's usually what happened. And I'm honest about it because I know that's my personality. I'll be like, well, I saved all these calories. I'm going to go spend these calories on something else, which is exactly what happened. And I noticed, too, that the more of the artificial stuff I was having, like, more and more healthy foods were going by the wayside. And I'd, like, look at them and, like, my stomach would do a barrel flip, and the only thing I wanted after a while was fast food. And I used to have, like, a pretty mixed diet. So I'm going to try going off the artificial stuff for a couple weeks, see what happens. I don't think my weight's going to balloon up anymore because, like I said, I can, like, drink the sweetened stuff and control myself. Like, after a while, it's like, I've had enough sweet. I don't want any more. And I'll just see how that goes. But it made me wonder, how much do we do for Loki or don't give to Loki that we give to ourselves on a daily basis? Like, take your diet. Like, are you, like, eating stuff you totally can't stand because you want to lose weight or you want to maintain weight or you want to do something? Like, maybe you have these terrible, and I've eaten every food on the planet, I think. Maybe you have those terrible shakes that they taste absolutely horrible, but they're supposed to be good for you, so you drink them. Or, and I had drank my share of raw vegan shakes. Pretty nasty. And maybe you do other stuff too, diet-wise or health-wise or whatever, that you would never do to Loki. And if we would start treating ourselves the way we treat Loki, and I don't mean like we spoil ourselves rotten or something if that's how you like view how you treat Loki, but if we'd start treating ourselves with the same love and respect as we treat Loki, we might find we naturally change things. Like, me deciding to go off the pink stuff because, you know, I'm like, well, I would never feed this to Loki. Like, if I make, the meat tea, I would never put it in. If I make him coffee, I would never put it in. If I make, rice, you know, I cook rice and then the next day I'll, like, put some milk in and sugar. I would never put in any of that stuff because I'm like, I'm never offering him this stuff. His stuff tastes nasty and it's probably not good for you and whatever else. And I notice I don't actually use as much sugar as, you know, I think, or like a company would put in it. Like, if a company put sugar into something, they would put like a ton more than you probably put it at home. And it's just, you like totally lack belief in yourself because advertising campaigns have taught you can't think for yourself and control yourself. And so it's just something to think about. And, you know, Loki was kind of like, well, you finally figured that one out. And it's just, I think we get used to like having two different levels, and sometimes we can explain. It's easy to explain away, well, I give Loki this better stuff, or I treat Loki better than I treat myself because he's a god. But then we have to think, well, am I really, like, did I really not give him the pink stuff because he's a god, or did I not give him the pink stuff because it's death and God knows it could even kill a god? And I'm like, wow, that's why I actually think of this stuff. So why am I making myself, you know, eat it for a few pounds here or there? Is it worth it? And then I'm like, well, if I wasn't shoveling this stuff in all the time and like using packets and packets and packets every day, you know, maybe I would lose some of that taste for the sweet stuff. Because I have cut sugar out of my diet before, or at least reduced it, and I've been, you know, first couple of days are kind of rough, but then you're fine. I was like, well, I'll just give it a try. Like, I had the last stuff, I just like finished up a cup of coffee, and I'm like, over the last couple of days, I realized this stuff ruins the taste of coffee. And you take all the time to get the fresh water and put your grains in and put spices or whatever in you put in. And then you dump this stuff in, and it's like, oh, it tastes terrible. And you guys remember the Odin Force coffee. I would not use it with the Odin Force coffee. I was not going to ruin that special coffee. So sometimes maybe you have those pink packets in your life, and maybe they aren't pink packets, but maybe there's something else. Maybe you treat yourself with less respect than you treat Loki, or you just don't nourish yourself in the way you would nourish Loki, or you don't love yourself in the way you would love Loki, or whatever. And that's not what he wants for us. He doesn't want us, you know, skinting on ourselves in order to serve him. Loki doesn't want you in the poorhouse. And I'm not saying, by the way, you don't offer him nice or special things, but I am saying, if you find out you're like treating him better than you treat yourself, And you're not saying that laughingly. You're like, wow, I give him like more emotional allowance, or I give him more love, or I give him more time than I give myself. Then you kind of have to step back and ask him to help you examine why. And it can actually lead to like you transforming stuff and treating yourself better, and growing perhaps as a person, because once you realize that you deserve the same level of respect and love and treatment. And I'm not saying that with hubris. Why would you treat someone Loki loves so poorly? Look at it that way. If Loki loves you, and you know he does, why would you treat that person so poorly? Why would you be so whatever with them as you feel you're being with yourself? I mean, like, let's say Loki said, oh, so-and-so's coming to your house tomorrow, and I absolutely love this person. I love them to death. Well, you would be careful to treat that person well, right? I mean, you would not give them anything you thought wasn't good. So kind of think in your head, am I giving myself anything I wouldn't give this person? Or am I giving myself anything I wouldn't give Loki? And that can be negative thoughts, that can be negative habits, that can be beating yourself up mercilessly or whatever. And, maybe transformation will come. It won't come easily. I mean, Loki had to be having me have the sugar on the weekends for weeks until I was like, I'm never going to be like a health nut purist again. I'm not going vegan or anything on you guys. But it made me kind of realize, why am I putting this stuff in my body if I think it's, no matter what studies I read, at the end of the day, I think it's not good for you. Why am I putting it in my body when I wouldn't give it to Loki? So maybe start thinking of your life like that. Is there anything you're doing? Are you like doubting your abilities where you wouldn't doubt Loki? Or are you doubting whatever about yourself where you wouldn't doubt Loki? Or you diet, exercise, whatever, that you would never ever do to Loki? So, love yourself and treat yourself as well as you would treat Loki, because Loki can't come down and unless he's like in a horse or something. That's totally different. He can't come down and do these things for us. We have to cook our meals. We have to get the exercise or not. We have to like choose how we live our lives. He can't come down and do these things for us. He can like give us nudges, and maybe it's time to start listening to those nudges if you're getting them. If you're feeling that you shouldn't be doing something, and you're having a lot of trouble, there are a lot of wonderful videos on YouTube, like everything from guided meditation to everything else to help you change a behavior or a way you think about yourself or a way you treat yourself. So I hope that helped. Usually when he gives me these nudges, they kind of seem like they're timely for people. So I hope it helped. And, do remember, it's not just me saying new agey, touchy-feely stuff. We really should love ourselves as much as we love Loki and treat ourselves just as well, because he loves us, and he can't do that for us. He can't come down and like make my coffee every day and put whatever in it, or whatever. He can't make the choices for us, but we can. And as much as he'd like to, as he tells me, wave a magic wand to make everything better, he can't do that. But if we pray to him for help, and we work with him every day, and we get any other kind of help we need, we can make the changes in our own life. So I really hope that helped. And if you like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe. And I lost a subscriber with the last video. It just makes me happy, because I look at it this way. When I lose people, those were people I didn't need. They were dead weight. God's bless them. I'm glad they're gone. So I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.